Hey, everybody, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I am your host, Dave.
I'm the other host, Don.
Yes, here we are to talk about a TV show that I don't know. We'll get into it. Uh, yeah, so we'll obviously the main topic tonight. We will be talking about. Son even says he's here for the Ironheart pile-on. So yes, we'll be talking about the Ironheart finale. Plus, the Running Man trailer came out. So if you grew up in the 80s, you saw the original. So we'll talk about that. And of course, we'll honor Jim Shooter, who passed away this week. So that's what we got on deck. Should be a quiet, short one night. We'll see. Once Don gets going, we don't know. Could be hours.
Right. Exactly.
But
if
on that
Kassan
note,
has his way.
Yes. On that note, how are you doing, sir? Anything new and exciting since Sunday night?
Not outside of the Ironheart series, which has been concluded. Other than that, I've just been playing way too much Magic Arena. And so that's really about it, man. I guess nothing super excited, nothing negative, all positive. What about you? How's your week been?
Busy actually, believe it or not. I think I said on Sunday I've been busy at work, and then the other day, my girlfriend looked at me and said, "You need new glasses." And I normally just go to like lens crafters.
Yeah.
So she just made an appointment and said, "All right, July 1st at 5:00, I'm going to pick you up. we're going to head over." So, I can't argue with her. It's been almost 5 years since I got new glasses. So,
okay. So she picked you up.
Yeah, I went and got my eyes checked. We picked out
lens crafters.
Yeah, I guess that they're not in Ohio. I thought there was a national chain.
No.
Okay.
I thought it's not national. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Plus, lens crafters. It's one of those last business names that describe exactly what it does. What do? Well, they craft lenses.
Well, it's funny because you remember their whole thing was get glasses while you wait, have them within an hour. Yeah, not so much anymore. Like
no, they don't craft their lenses within an hour.
Yeah, I think they only like the most common ones you can get made right away, and I don't think all the locations do it either. So, long story short, they said it takes up to 10 days to get them. They'll let me know once they're done. I can go pick them up.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so keep an eye out. I'll have new glasses soon, and then today I actually took the day off because I haven't talked about this. It's not a big deal, but like we can't find. My son wants to get an ID. He never had a state ID, and we can't find a social security card. So, we've looked high and low. Don't know what happened to it. So, and of course, you need your social security card and your birth certificate, and then a proof of address to get a state ID. And so here's the question, right? Because then you need an ID to prove who you are to get your social security card.
Yeah, so there is some sort of process. I've heard it's not too terrible.
Yeah, basically, long story short, we did go. We had a copy of a medical record from his latest. He had gotten just a checkup back in November, and we had a copy of a record that showed that he went, and they took that. So we tried before, and we got a bunch of static because it said you could use your insurance card as ID, and on their website and on the form itself, it just says health insurance card. But when you go and they look at it, if there's not an issue date on the front of the card, they don't accept it. And for some reason, United Healthcare doesn't have an issue date on the front of the card. There's a printed on date that's on the back of the card, and I'm like, isn't that the same thing? They're like, no. It's like, so yeah, so then like that was like last year, and then he got the checkup, and someone said, oh, you can just take that with you. And that was the thing. It was like a month ago. I said, all right, well, we'll go. And you go online, and they're like, oh, you have to make an appointment now, and it was a month out. So today was the day. You know, it's just the government. It's so annoying.
So you got your Social Security card though?
Well, he got it. Well, you don't get it the same day. That's the other thing. Then they take all your information and they send out for it, and you get it within 7 to 10 business days.
Yeah, funny story. I have never had my Social Security card. Like, I never got it from my mom, and she doesn't have it now. And somehow I've been able, continually get jobs, bought a house, cars, like.
I'm trying to think. Have they ever asked for my Social Security card at a job? I think so. Kassan's asking how my son is 23. So, so yeah, it's if that's another thing. If you're a minor, an adult, a parent can just apply for it and they'll send it to you. But if you're an adult, you need to have all this identification. You can't do anything else in California without your social. Oh, wow. I can't remember.
Like, I've got all my kids. I've got my wife, but I've never had mine. And somehow.
Oh, maybe you should get it.
I guess I had it when I first got my license, maybe. Then I had it. And so now nobody. I mean, I've got my concealed carry, like everything. No, as long as I know my number, no one is give two shits.
I think that's true, too, right? As long as you know your number, you can fill out most applications, and most people know their Social Security number because you have to fill it out on so many things in this country. So enough of that nonsense. So basically, I've been busy.
Social Security hero speaks. I'm sorry.
I've been busy the last 3 days, so I'm tired.
All right.
And then I had to watch the 3 episodes of Ironheart, which made me more tired.
Yeah, I wonder if that's where my because I got a little headache going on right now. And I wonder if that's where. So all this spells great show for you guys tonight.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yes. So on that note, you know what we should do? Speaking of headaches and pains and suffering, we should have Darth Don come on and tell you where you can find more superhero speak.
Darth Don here. You must subscribe to Superhero Speak if you haven't already. And if you have already, make another account and subscribe again. You also will like this video. While you're on the HoloNet, go to superheroespeak.com. Find the links to our merch and purchase one of our shirts. Don't skimp on the shipping, or else I will trap you in a box with an agitated gun dog named Brie Lawson. I would just force lightning you, but we don't have that in the effects budget. Now, back to the show.
What?
Thrawn Kill, you're the greatest. He says, I'm not going in there with 2 Brie Larsons. Send a droid. From episode 1, the 2.
Yes.
The Moidians.
Yes. The Droidicons.
Droidicons.
Droidicons, yeah. All right. So, sad news. Comic book writer, editor, and founder of multiple publishers, Jim Shooter passed away.
Valiant Comics.
Valiant, Broadway, and Defiant. He founded all those companies. I mean, Defiant and Broadway are short-lived. Valiant is still around. He was originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Passed away at the age of 73. I also found it interesting because, it's on the docket. They're working on it. We're going to get a Secret Wars movie. And this is the gentleman who wrote the original Secret Wars crossover story, which people don't realize that was the first major comic book event, right? And I think they don't do it as much now, but in the early 2000s, you had an event every year, Avengers Disassembled, Civil War, House of M, the Dark Avenger, the list goes on and on. They did a big event every year, but they would just this was every once in a while they did it in the comics, and Secret Wars was the first big one, at least with Marvel Comics. I'm not sure if pretty sure Crisis is after Secret Wars. And it was a big thing. It was a mini series, Battle World. All the heroes are gathered and they're in their standalone book that doesn't affect what's going on in the regular books because they're on another plane of existence. And it was such a big deal when it came out, and he was the brainchild behind it, So what's one of his favorite Jim Shooter stories?
Well, I don't know if I know of Jim Shooter stories per se.
Okay.
When I think of Jim Shooter, honestly, it's like you think of Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Ditka, and then Shooter.
Yeah.
Again, not because I can say, oh, this is my favorite story of his, but just the fact that he was so good as a fan. DC hired him as a 14-year-old.
Yes.
And it's like, wow, this 14-year-old, actually gets why, Marvel's so popular. It can do all these intricate, type stories. So that to me is the most impressive thing about Jim Shooter is that, he did Liefeld before Liefeld, and he got more steam than Liefeld as he, was the head honcho at Marvel for, quite some time. Yes. Liefeld never quite got there. I mean, he was head honcho at Image, and you think about that as you will. But that's the thing to me, and also I think sometimes I screw this up, but I think Jim Shooter's also the guy, like Chris Claremont was pissed off at him about something. I don't know if pissed off's the right word, but he was like, fuck it, we're going to kill Jean Grey. And Jim Shooter knew that Chris Claremont didn't actually expect him to say, okay, go ahead. And that's exactly what he did. He said, okay, kill her. So I just think of stuff like that when it comes to Jim Shooter and his importance to the industry.
Well, and it's funny because he does have a reputation of being at times difficult to work with, and I'm sure that's where some of that story comes from. But we actually did meet him. Oh God, I want to say it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago at a convention in Philly, and we did interview him. I don't remember what episode that was. I tried to do a search on our website to find it, and I couldn't. So I'm gonna have to go through the old stuff and see if I can find it. And he was really nice when we actually did sit down and talk with him. It was funny because he was at a table where he had all these books set up, all these older books that he'd worked on and everything. And it was near the end of the convention and he was cleaning up. And I just said, oh, could you want to talk for a minute? He's like, sure. And he pulled a chair over for me, 2 chairs over for me and John. He said, come on, come over here, sit down. he's like, what do you want to know? You know? And he was just
Mm-hmm.
the nicest guy. Cause like I'd heard he had a reputation for being like a curmudgeon, but I
Yeah.
didn't see that at all. He was super accommodating. We talked about, like I said, we talked about Secret Wars, Valiant, what he like, because this was when they were trying to the first time they were trying a Valiant revival. So this was pre-pandemic. Oh God, so it was probably 6 or 7 years ago. Um, this was the big like we're pushing. Exo Man of War had just been relaunched, and then
Okay, so
and he was like he was super excited about it. We talked about that for a while, um, and then the pandemic hit, and that really hurt Valiant. But that's a whole other story.
yeah.
What were you gonna say?
What? Well, it sounds like when you met him, he's trying to push the Valiant brand,
Yeah.
or
Oh yeah, yeah.
whereas the people that say he's cantankerous or tough to deal with probably dealt with him while he was the head of Marvel, which at the time was the biggest comic book company. So I'm sure that's why there was two different experiences. If you would have met,
Yeah.
president of Marvel, Jim Shooter, he might not have, been so accommodating.
Possibly. And I think,
But still
I
a nice
think,
guy, I'm sure.
yeah, I'm sure he was also a guy with it. Like, and you hear this about a lot of successful people. He was probably a guy with a vision. Like, this is what I
Yeah.
want Marvel Comics to be. This is what I want the characters to be. This is what I want the stories to be. And when you deal
So I
with
wonder if him and Wanda were best friends. She was a girl with a vision, and he's a guy with a vision. You think they'd be good friends? I'm sorry.
that's good. That was quick. And when you deal with creative people, they're always quick to turn around and say, "Oh no, this is what I want to do." Blah blah. I'm like, and when the guy in charge
Yeah.
has got to go, "No, that's a terrible idea. It doesn't fit with what we're doing." You're quick to go, he's a jerk, So,
Sure. Yeah.
Rob Liefeld actually put up a nice tribute about him, basically saying that, like, yeah, like because he brought him. He was one. I think Shooter brought him into Marvel. It was one of the guys that brought him into Marvel, and he was he said that about him, like, basically that's what it was. He had this reputation of being tough and hard to work with, but he brought in a lot of these young guys in the 80s, and then he ended up leaving Marvel. But he said that, like, they felt that when they worked there, like, yeah, he was difficult to work with, but then, like, afterwards, they became more friends, because they would see each other at conventions and they would talk and hang out and stuff. So, I think you're right. Like, when you're dealing with him when he's the boss and he's the head of Marvel, he's a tough guy to deal with. But when you get to know the real guy, he's a sweetheart who's a creative person and wants a thing to be a certain way. So, yeah, it's a shame he won't get to see the Secret Wars movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was always a dream of his, but
it is more of a Hickman thing, though, just to be fair. But yeah, still
they
to
said
see,
they said they're borrowing from both the original and the the new story. So,
right.
yeah, he will be missed. Rest in peace, good sir. All right, let's switch to things that are being resurrected from things that are gone. There is a new trailer that dropped. I hope you got a chance to watch it.
I did.
They remade The Running Man, which is based on a Stephen King novel, basically a dystopian future, with how do I say this, reality TV, which I always found funny because, like, reality TV wasn't a thing in the 80s, when this book came out and when the movie was made.
Yeah.
And yet, it was a thing. So the book is set in 2025. So I kind of feel like, okay,
wow.
but the movie was set in 2019. I believe the movie came out in '86. So yeah, so the movie came out in '86. Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of his first. Well, not his first, but it was a big action movie. It's one where he talks a lot versus one of the first movies where he had a lot of
Right.
lines versus Terminator, and I kind of feel like it might have been a big enough hit where like people started taking him more seriously. So the story is Glenn Powell gets involved with this show called The Running Man, where basically people try to hunt him down and kill him, and he has to survive. If he survives, he gets $1 million or whatever. Obviously, if he dies, he dies, and that's the end of the show. So the book and the original movie, these are people that are on death row, inmates that are on death row. They pick to do this, and this is their corporal punishment. If they make it, they get their freedom. If they, if they die, it's over. And there's a group of hunters that chase them down that are also criminals, and it's in like an abandoned city. Richard Dawkins, is it Richard Dawkins is the host of the show. People who grew up in the 70s and 80s probably remember him as the host of Family Feud. And
let's make a deal.
Yes.
That one?
Oh yeah. And then so like that's that. This new trailer, and I want to get your take on it, but it feels like they went, oh no. This is like anyone can be in the competition and the whole world is trying to kill you. And I was just like, I don't know. I felt like that goes too far. What did you think of the trailer?
Oh yeah, no, they totally fucked this up. Totally.
Okay.
I've been thinking like, when are they going to do Running Man? When are they going to do Running Man? And here they actually was not aware of it at all till you emailed it to me. And yeah, I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, what the hell? Like what? Because this is supposed to be like commentary on, this dystopian future where people are once again, just like in the Roman Colosseum, almost like MMA.
Yeah.
People are once again enjoying death and destruction for entertainment. And, it'd be commentary on that. And like you said, they're criminals. So it's like, who cares? But of course, the Running Man, the movie, he was like framed or something, if I remember. It's been a while since I saw the movie.
Yes.
He really wasn't a criminal.
He wasn't a criminal. No, and it's the same in the book too.
Okay.
He was falsely accused and put into death row, and yeah. So and he gets and in the movie, I don't know. I never read the book. I was just reading about it before the show.
Yeah.
Kassan says that it's a televised purge. Yeah, you've never seen the original.
Kinda.
There something comes out too at the end of in the movie version. I don't know if it does this in the book, where like he gets exonerated too. Like there's evidence that comes out as well that says like, what's the character's name? Glenn Powell, I think is the character's name. Oh no, Ben Richards. Sorry, Glenn Powell is the actor playing him this time instead of Arnold. Ben Richards, there's some like kind of evidence comes out that proves he's also innocent as well, which kind of felt weird, like because he wins at the end and gets his freedom, so you didn't need that. But I mean, I guess
yeah,
but
I mean, just what a way to screw the pooch, man. Like I really would be excited if they redid it. Okay, game shows aren't quite a thing anymore, so maybe the closest thing you could get to Richard Dawson is, I don't know, Drew Carey, or I don't know, or no, Howie. He's another one, that Howie Mandel. Okay, maybe you could get him. That'd have been cool.
Or Ryan Seacrest. He currently hosts Wheel of Fortune.
Exactly.
He would have been perfect. Yeah.
So, it's missing that element. And then, yeah, like I would love to see the whole setup, same shit. He's framed or whatever. He's really not a criminal, but they're treating him like a criminal. He gets shot into this abandoned city / arena, whatever. But it's got to be isolated. Can't like, because in this movie, it's like, oh, just release you out and anybody can try to kill you. Like, no, have this like special team, just like in the original movie in the book. Not that I've read the book. You know, your Sub-Zero, your what was it? Dynamo,
Oh,
what
yeah.
Buzzsaw.
Yep.
You know, who's the flamethrower guy? I can't remember, but there's a guy with a flamethrower. Like, where's our themed villains? I mean, and you don't have to stick to the exact villains because they were, you know, Sub-Zero was like a fat Japanese guy that was dressed in hockey gear and his stick was a little sharper. So, I mean, so we could go way cooler with like the villains. You know, there could be like a cyber ninja or some shit.
Right.
But no, they didn't do any of that.
Yes. No, you're right. And like, yeah, because Kassan's saying like, so the new one's more like a televised purge. Yeah. And here's the thing, like, and so the other thing is in the trailer, if you watch the trailer, it's like, oh, they live in the port side of town and they have a daughter or a kid who's, I don't remember if it's a son or a daughter, and they just show the kid for half a second. But they have a kid who's sick and they need the money. So that's why he signs up to do this and blah, blah. And it's like, you know, like, no. Like,
yeah, no.
I don't think, because that loses realism that way. No one in their right mind is going to sign up for something. Doesn't matter how much money you could win. No one's going to sign up for something where they could possibly be killed just to win, like, let's say $1 million. Like, no one's going to do that. That's a dumb premise. And two, like, is it the whole, like, because they say that in the trailer, like the whole city is hunting you down. No one could survive that. Like, you know, it's one thing if there's a group of hunters chasing you, but like, if the whole city is hunting you, someone's going to get you, you know, especially in today's world. You know, there's gangbangers everywhere with guns. Like, you're done.
Well, no, this is America. So if you're not in New York or California somewhere, I mean, just click clack, man, all around you. You know,
I'm also kind of curious what year they're going to set this in, because it is 2025 and we don't have the technology that they show in the trailer. They have these like tiny flying cameras to follow him around and whatnot. Like, obviously, when you write a book in 1982, I think that's when the book was written. You can say, in 2025 we're going to have laser guns and cameras everywhere. I mean, and here's the thing. I'll say that too. It's 2025. You don't really need those flying cameras to follow him. Like, there are security cameras everywhere. They could just tap into them, you know, to follow him around. So that seemed a little out there.
People run around with multiple cameras on their phone.
Yeah.
That could be tapped into.
It is. I didn't even think of that. That's actually an excellent point. Yeah, because that could be part of it as well. Like, if you see the guy and you film him, maybe you get $25 or something. You know, people would do that. That, like, definitely. I think the only reason that there's a little bit of steam behind this movie is 'cause it's Edgar Wright is the person who's directing it. You know, and you know, Edgar Wright's got a lot of good movies under his belt that people like. So why not, right?
Sure. I just think, though, this is just such a wasted opportunity. This could be like a really cool little movie and a cool action movie, which I'm sure they're going to make it an action movie. But it just, I don't know. I would look way more forward to it if I knew, like, okay, guy has to go through this area and make it through 4 or 5 special mercenary fighter people. Okay, great.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing.
And ship it.
Running Man, and I have a feeling this was the inspiration. It was more like, American Gladiator. Where
Yeah.
like just a regular guy signs up to do the show, and there's these trained athletes, and they've got to go through these gauntlets and these mazes and all these challenges, and they're physical challenges, and there's obviously no death involved because it's all padded stuff and dart guns and tennis balls or whatever. But
Yeah.
like that was a thing, so that's why it's more believable that like just have them in a set or a back lot or an abandoned part of the city that he's got to run through, not just anywhere in the city, because
Yeah.
anywhere in the world, because that's another thing, right? Like, I mean, and I'm sure it'll be explained in the movie, but like, what's to stop him from just hiding in the sewer for 24 hours or however long that it lasts for, because obviously there's got to be a time limit. It can't just be they hunt him forever.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, no, there was. There was
Yeah.
but I want to say it was like 30 days though. It was something crazy. I don't know.
Okay. So
They're way overcomplicating this idea for me. So this concept.
I believe so. Yeah. So we shall see. I don't know if we'll watch it. Maybe we'll wait for streaming and then we'll talk about it. So
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. But yeah.
Thrawn said, yeah, 30 days. I guess they get one season out of one contestant, but what if they're killed right away? Then you got a short season.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I just heard a loud bang outside.
Uh-oh.
All right, well, we'll ignore that for now.
Yeah. We'll hope that's not mortar fire.
Oh, you know what? It could be fireworks.
It is July 2nd.
And this is the first day that it hasn't rained here. Rained really bad here, so.
Oh, okay. Light them up.
That is probably what it is. All right. I guess we got to do this. So we talked about the first 3 episodes last week. They dropped the final 3 episodes yesterday. And of course, we're talking about Ironheart. And I really don't know what to say about this show. Dave lives in the hood. I actually don't. I live on the edge of the hood, but I'm not in the hood. I don't know. I'll let you go first. What? Okay, for overall, just just let's just say overall the series, and well, we talked mostly about the setup and everything last week. So like the overall the series and like kind of how it's resolved. I'll put that in quotes. What did you think of Ironheart?
Well, I definitely thought that the last 3 episodes were better than the first.
Yeah.
But I could be saying that because I had to tell myself, I'm not going to keep complaining about the same thing. These are 3 new episodes, so I'm not going to keep dragging it through. And I found myself settling in the story now that it was set up a little bit more. Like, again, we had all our complaints, but okay, here we are. Riri's mixed up with this group and this happened, and so here we go. And I found myself getting a little bit interested in that. Despite the fact that the first so episode 3 starts off with the crew going into a restaurant and taking it over. I think it was a restaurant. And of course, the first thing that happens is one of the 5'2", 100-pound bruisers of the group slams some dude's head into the to a table, and they order everybody out, and everyone complies. And I'm thinking, if I'm sitting there eating with my wife, and some fucking person, 5 foot, 200-pound person comes slams my goddamn face into a table. I'm not running. I'm getting up. And whether they're a man or a woman, I'm going to say, what the fuck's your problem, bitch? And I'm going to settle things right then and there. I'm not going to fucking run. So
here's the thing that
go ahead.
That gets me about that scene. They're in Chicago.
Right.
At a White Castle in the middle of the night.
Half of the
people in there have guns.
Right. You don't want to fuck with. Right. Exactly. Thank you. I'm glad that you added it on there because okay. So I'm like, but with that said, I enjoyed Riri like beating them all up using her smarts. I did like that. And that's what kind of got me back into it. That's what kind of settled me into the story. And then we get to the scene with Zeke Stain, right? They bust him out. They say, help us with Riri. We got all this technology. Do what you want. And okay, so we're talking about Zeke Stain, who like doesn't stand up to anybody. He's all super conscious about not eating animals and not hurting anybody. But yet he's got the balls to strap himself to this machine that's going to drill into his head with no anesthesia.
And trust these people that he just met that are criminals who broke him out of jail to not screw with him while this is going on.
Right. I would definitely mention that. So basically, they set the machine that drills the shit into him, and it makes him like nigh invincible with force lightning. But he gets fucked because the people that are there that aren't even as smart as him were able to hack his shit and turn his powers off when they wanted to. Yeah. So he had to end up working for them. And then after all that, he's supposed to go after and kill Riri. He doesn't do it. I don't, he's flip-flopping everywhere, this dude. So I don't know. That kind of took me out of it a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny is that Ezekiel Stain is a villain from the Iron Man comics. Like, it's his son, getting revenge for Ironmonger. He has a suit, but he also has bionics, and he goes after Iron Man. So, and he's just basically a straight up villain in the comics. And Riri, I haven't read much of her, but like she's a hero in the comics. They decided to flip that in this. I'm sorry. Ezekiel's more of a hero, even though like he does bad things, but he does bad things because he's being controlled. He's more of a hero in this show than Riri is at the end of the day. Hey, kitty. I have a door that closes now, so my cat doesn't come in when we do the show.
Yeah. He doesn't normally do this.
He's hungry. Or wants attention. One or the other. So, like, and that's one of the things I did that like took me out of the show. It's one of those things where these people just join this gang and trust this guy like right away. I mean, I know because they do a couple successful jobs and make money or whatever. But like, they killed the one guy who he left the gang and they killed him because he was a loose end. And no one like looked into it. No one heard about it. Only Riri heard that he was killed, and it's just like that seemed weird as well, right? Because
that's all weird because then Riri does or the group does get tipped off, particularly the bomb specialist. I don't know what her name is. She gets tipped off that Parker or the Hood, whatever you want to call him, is the one that killed Rampage. So she does then have the hacker person look into it, and then they do end up confronting the Hood over him killing him. And it's like, wait a minute. You guys just walked into a White Castle talking about, oh, okay, let's just kill him, right? Like, you guys are clearly okay with killing. But you find out about, oh, well, this guy got killed, and now you have a problem with Parker or the Hood. Like, yeah, see, none of that whole motherfucking thing. Just it. So anyway,
Yeah.
none of that worked for me. Took me out of it. But okay, but then we have the scene in the garage where the AI starts showing Riri good memories that she had with her stepfather, and then that brought me back in. I was like, oh, okay. So let me just pause real quick and say I will not. I thought the acting in the show is actually pretty good. The acting is good.
Yeah, no. I will agree with that too. The acting is
Okay.
actually pretty good in this show. The writing is horrible. But go ahead.
Yes. So that scene, I'm in my feels about it. Okay, so I'm in it. I'm all right. Okay, cool. I'm back in it. Oh, the mom bought the old car. And then I'm like, wait a minute. What? Do not fucking tell me that they're going to say that she's going to be able to rebuild this suit by using those old ass car parts.
So
sure enough, that's what they did. I'm not going to nail that to the wall too hard for it because this is a comic book show. So
I'm sorry. The car was in Wakanda Forever, and the Wakandans Shuri helped rebuild that car, and then it was brought back to the United States. Then all of a sudden they didn't have the car anymore, and that's not explained. It's like there's a lot of holes in this show from where they set the character up in Wakanda Forever to this show. Like, there's a quick scene where they're like, oh, maybe you should call Shuri for help, and she like goes, oh, she's not going to help me because blah, 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 whatever. And it's just like, what? That's stupid. Like, give a real good reason, not just, I don't want to. Like, you're in way over your head. You're dealing with the dark dimension. And it's like,
hey, Shuri, I got this guy with some sort of demon coat killing people and possibly wants to kill me. I just need an infinite power supply. Can you hook that up? Oh, thank you. Overnight it? Wonderful. Thank you, Shuri. Have a great one. Oh, how's the queen? Good? Okay, wonderful. Tell Dora Milaje I missed him. Boom, we're done. But, instead, though, okay. But again, okay, so they got me in the field. This is what the show's I was in it. Then I'm back out. But okay, so she's going to rebuild the suit. She rebuilds it, but she doesn't have a power supply. So she goes to this this magic person. They meet. There's this. I don't know how. I'm not doing a good job of describing it, but they do start because once they so they get a piece of the cloak, and they basically learn that it's supernatural, and so they take it. She asks her mom for help. Her mom's all about real life sage magic. I don't know what the hell you want to call it. She takes her to her friend's old shop. Turns out her friend or her friend's daughter or some sort of like what's that place that they go to study? Because her mom quit it. The Comitage. Yeah, there you go. So she was her mom's friend was going to be a sorcerer, but stopped doing that to be a mother. But now her daughter is like naturally talented. Anyway, all boils down to is they're basically saying, oh no, this is Dormammu's shit. 50% sure this is Dormammu. And I'm like, I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it was Dormammu. So, anywho.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, they end up doing some magic mumbo jumbo to power the suit. I actually thought that was kind of cool. I was like, I'm not sure if that's how it is in the comics, but I was like, okay, All right, I'm back in it. All right, cool. Suit powered by supernatural. All right, cool. Go get him. You know, but twist. There's always a price when you use magic. You got to pay something.
Yeah.
So, in order for the suit to be powered, it destroyed her AI friend.
Yeah. And anyone remember the first episode? The reason that she crashed and was having issues with the suit was because the AI was taken offline because it was property of the school. So she needed the AI to help control the suit. Now all of a sudden she can go into battle without it. Like
Yeah.
consistency, please. Christopher Smith.
But all
Hold on, real quick.
yeah,
I just want to mention this. He did say, yeah, they mentioned the first episode. She sold the car for suit parts, but that was glanced over quickly. So okay.
okay.
All right. I
Cool.
don't remember that, but thank you. But that also seems odd because the car was super important to her in that movie, and then she sold it for parts.
Yeah.
Okay. But go ahead.
But you know, all that matters not though. None of it matters. Even the final showdown between Riri and the Hood. But okay, before we get to the final showdown or whatever you want to call it, we learn that Parker got the Hood from he made a deal with somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. Played by Sacha Baron Cohen. Okay. So he asked for more power, says he's going to get it. All right. Then he takes that opportunity. Him and Riri fight. He becomes some like crazy beast demon thing. Here's something I don't understand. During their fight, it's like clearly looking like he is tearing bits and pieces of the suit off.
Yeah.
They're about to kill her, but then it turns out it's all a hologram. How is he tearing bits and pieces off of a hologram? But okay. I can't dwell there too long. I'm just saying. So
Go ahead.
The fight concludes, because he falls for the hologram. She's able to like knock him out or whatever, take the suit off of him, and there you have it. But then so she ends up meeting with the same guy he made the deal with. And in this conversation, she's like, okay, whatever, Dormammu. And the dude's like, ha ha ha, Dormammu, he's not even good enough to wipe my royal asshole. Which is I'm not even paraphrasing. He said royal asshole, something akin to that. But turns out it's Mephisto. And he wants to make a deal with Riri. And she makes the deal. That's how the series ends. Oh, and there is a
after credit.
Scene. There is an after credit that doesn't make this so. But before the after credit, they show what the deal was. Though, was Riri's looks? She looks to be older, not too much older, different hairstyle, and then her AI comes back. And she's like, "Oh my god, I've been waiting so long to say this. Diagnostics," and it doesn't work. Then her AI actually touches her. Then Riri's like, "Oh, what the hell? How are you touching me?" So Riri made some sort of deal with Mephisto. We don't know what the exact cost was, although it alludes to some time. But she made a deal with Mephisto to bring back her best friend. And then, we get some sort of end credit scene where, and I didn't even understand it fully. I mean, if you want to fill in the blanks there, but
basically the Hood goes to the same daughter,
the magic girl,
and asks her for help. Basically, is so like that's kind of setting up a storyline for them. So
that nobody's going to care about, ever.
Right? So real quick, let's back up for a second, right? Because one of the criticisms I heard about this show, and I was like, that's kind of spot on. Yes, let's be honest, right? Like, for the most part, superhero shows or should be for kids. They should be geared towards kids, right? Because superheroes are kid stuff. Um, and I don't fully disagree with that, but this is definitely more mature. But they shouldn't be written by kids. And there's a lot about this movie that feels like it was written by a 14-year-old or 12 to 14-year-old who knows nothing about how the real world works, right? Like the hood is gaining power by forcing these CEOs to sign contracts. We talked about that last time, which they were signed under duress, so they're not legally binding. Um, you know, we find out at the end of the day, it's all daddy issues. The person he's
Yeah,
really
we
after,
did skim over that. Yeah.
these are all sub companies that his father owns, and his father kicked him out when he was 12 years old, and he was on his own. Um, so this is the ultimate revenge on daddy was, take over his company. He makes him sign a contract with a gun to his head. Again, not legally binding in any way
Yeah.
whatsoever. And then he says, and then he tells him to leave. And we also glossed over the battle between Bionic Ezekiel, the second battle between Ezekiel and Riri, and she beats him. How did she beat him, Don? Come on. By kicking him
she
in
knees him in the nuts.
by kicking him in the nards. That is such a 12-year-old. Oh, she'll beat him by kicking him in the nuts. And there's like a weird explanation on why kicking him in the nuts is going to work, because it's the only part that's still purely organic and it's going to hurt and it'll cause the system to reboot. So the whole thing is like, he doesn't want to be controlled by the hood, and he doesn't want to do the bad things the hood is making him do, right? Like, they established that really well in this show. So she kicks him in the nuts, which is going to cause him to, and then she puts a blanket around him, saying your system's going to reboot. You're basically going to fall asleep. And then, she puts a thing in it to stop the thing where the hood can control him. So she gave him what he wanted. She saved him. And she goes, so we good now? And he's like,
right.
No, this isn't over. What? Like, that makes no sense. She just saved you. You didn't want to hurt her, but yet this isn't over? Like, come on. That is, again, a 14-year-old wrote that line. Like, oh, it'd be cool if he's like still angry for no real reason at that point. And so yeah, that was difficult to watch. Yeah, and then the fight at the end makes no sense between her and Ezekiel. Her and the hood. That fight is confusing. How is it that is he fooled by a hologram, or was he not fooled by a hologram? But then if he wasn't, why is there like no massive damage on her suit when she does win? And she wins basically by ripping the cloak off of him and walking away. Like, this. So he has no powers without the cloak, I guess. Like, I didn't realize, and okay, fine. And then the conversation at the end between her and Mephisto, like, it doesn't make sense to me, right? Like, she wanted to beat him so she could protect her family, and her greatest desire was to have her AI back. She's a genius. She could figure out how to redo the AI. She doesn't need Mephisto for that. Like, okay, so actually to resurrect her best friend from the dead, okay, fine. Then she does need Mephisto for that. And it's just like, but yeah, it makes sense only in the context of the show, because they show in this entire show she has questionable moral character the whole time, from the very beginning. She was doing all this questionable stuff to make money to build a suit, even though she's a friend with the queen of the richest country in the MCU, and saved Wakanda, and has a genius grant where they're giving her money to do research, and her research is building the suit. Which means she probably also had access to Stark tech, which means she could have had an arc reactor in her suit. Like all of that is glossed over so that they could make her morally questionable in this entire show. And that's my whole problem, is like you want to make like you're taking, I said this before, I think maybe I didn't. In a way, you're taking away her power to be a hero by making her this like basically thug that just wants a suit at any means, that she doesn't care how she gets it done. Where she learns by the end of the show, well, if she had just trusted her family from the beginning, they could all work together and build this suit, and she could win the day. Okay, so that's all she needs. But no, now all of a sudden, here's Mephisto at the end of the show, and he's going to offer her a deal. And why? Just to set something up for the next season? Is there going to be a next season? Like, where are they going with this character? It's just it falls so flat at the end, I think, because of that.
Yeah, no, I mean it definitely does. Like I said, I feel that the last three episodes here, I was starting to settle in a little bit. As far as like, a 1 to 10 rating, last show I was at a 5. At some point during watching this, I was inching toward like a 7. But the way that it ended, the way that Mephisto's just there, and none of that makes sense, and this all is just end up being some sort of setup for a show or movie that nobody even wants to watch. That's why, to me, the most I could give it, but I will give it a 6 out of 10 capes. The writing is not good. The acting is, a lot of the action's good, but the story has a lot of holes and just doesn't make a lot of sense for me.
Yeah, I kind of feel like one of the things that would have worked better, and the ending would have worked better, if introduce Mephisto earlier, right? Show him in a flashback in the 3rd episode, and then show him here and there talking to the Hood, and set him up, make him the Mephisto of the comics, where he is basically the MCU's devil. He's the devil of the MCU. That's like well established. So make him the devil, show him tempting people, show him helping the Hood convincing these people to sign the contracts, right? Like, you could have made the whole show, not the whole show, but a big part of the show, that aspect of it, where, Mephisto can show him, the Hood, the sins of these CEOs, and he can confront them with that, and that's what convinces them to sign the contracts. Like, oh, you've been sleeping with young boys or something, to like a male CEO, and like, oh, yeah, okay, I don't want that getting out, so yeah, I'll sign. Like, that works. This like weird confronting them and forcing them to sign these contracts is stupid. And then just end the show with her getting off the elevator and him saying, him just sitting there stirring his tea, saying, let's talk. And that's it. End it right there. Then you can tell, like, oh, they're going to set something up. And then they have got time to figure out where they're going to go with this. But to end with her making a deal with the devil? No. So, given that, I'm going to give it my lowest score I've ever given anything in the show, because normally I always say anything 5 and below is not worth watching.
Yeah,
I'm going to say 4.
Ooh.
Because the acting's good, but I don't see how this fits into the rest of the MCU at all, and I don't see how it's like. I don't see where it's going, and ending it with your hero making a deal with the devil. No, I'm sorry. it goes right up there with One More Day, and MJ making a deal with the devil to save Peter's secret identity, but them taking their marriage away. Like, that was stupid.
Yeah.
So so yeah. Okay, what does Kasan say? She's showing up in all new MCU movies, Fantastic Four, Doom, X-Men. Look for the epic tale to tie the whole universe together. No, I don't think so. I haven't heard anything about her being in other stuff. And this has been talked about before on the show, and one of the things he said is Mephisto is more than likely to just show up in the show and not one of the movies, because in countries like China, they're not allowed to have depictions of like the devil in things. So
yeah, they're not gonna risk that.
So they're not gonna put Mephisto in a movie and not be able to show it in some countries. So yeah, he's just gonna be in on the shows. So all right. Well, hold on a second. That's how you know we've gone over an hour, because it's an hour timer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we thought of Mephisto. I mean Mephisto. That's what we thought of Mephisto. You know what?
Finally, though, Mephisto watch is over. I'm sad John's not here.
I know. I tried to text him. I even put a comment on his Facebook page and nothing. I don't know what's going on with John.
Mm.
But I will say, I'm going to call this show Somehow Mephisto Appeared, because it's like somehow Palpatine appeared, right? Because it's like, it's at the end of the show. Oh, it was Mephisto the whole time. He was behind all of this. Oh, so we find that out in the last episode, and he's in the show for 5 minutes. Like, come on, like, build him up and make him the villain that he could be, not slap him in at the end. And it's like, oh yeah, it was the devil all the time. So that being said, maybe we got it right, maybe we got it wrong. Let us know in the comments down below. What did you think of Ironheart? And do you want to see more of the character? Are you curious what's going to happen with her deal with the devil? So, all right. Well, there you have it. We are now at that point of the show where we need to ask that question.
What do we learn on the show tonight?
Or recommendations. So what do you got for us, Don?
Well, I learned that Dave went to Lens Crafters, but they were unable to craft the lenses that he wanted. So they had to send it to him. So they should call them lens senders, not lens crafters.
Okay.
I have no recommendations.
I learned that we can talk ourselves down from possibly liking a terrible thing, and maybe scoring it too high. And so recommendations, I don't really have anything at the moment either, other than if you're in the United States, have a safe and happy 4th of July, and I recommend that you just go somewhere and watch fireworks. Don't go buy fireworks and blow your fingers off. It's stupid. There's no need to do it yourself. It's going to be going off all week in my neighborhood. I'm sure it's going to go off all week in your neighborhood, Don. And like you want to get sparklers and do that, fine. But these people who buy like the mortars and stuff now, because you can get because in Pennsylvania, because of a loophole, you can now get them. And you hear the stories over here. People get hurt and blow fingers off, and it's just like, don't be stupid. Like you've been lucky. Your luck's gonna run out eventually. So that is my recommendation. Have a safe and fun New Year's, but safe more than anything. So all right. Well, on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape caught in the door. See you next time.
If you haven't done so yet, subscribe It really keeps this podcast alive. Smash the like button if you please. It gives us what we need. Maybe leave a comment or two. It's a really nice thing to do. And what are you waiting for? Visit our merch store. But before you click away,